Hi, welcome to our AFO Radio FB live channel. Are we live already? Let me check. Oh, we are live already. This is on air with Kim and Selene, but you are probably wondering where is our dear Kim, right? So unfortunately, Kim is unable to join us this evening as she has to attend to some family matters. So just me helming the show. I hope you're okay with just having Selene on board, right? So as you know, this show is part of the initiatives to support the donation campaign that AFO Radio has launched in April, and it's called Safe with Stories MY. Okay, it's a joint initiative between AFO Radio, Track Kit, Kiwanis Malaysia, and VGI Transit. So Safe with Stories MY is actually very special. Like personally, I think for this campaign, we have been getting people we know, such as artists, entertainers, influencers, and even the public to actually lend their voices by reading a children's book and share it on their social media account. And at the same time, it's also to urge the public to make a donation, make a little contribution as little as 15 ringgit, yeah, to help raise fund on essential items as well as education materials to special kids and for those among the underprivileged communities. So I mean, how often, right, we see adult reading children's book these days. So, and if you are bored at home, especially during this CNCO period, it does provide some sort of entertainment to you and your little ones. So listening to stories told by some of these big shots out there. Now, this evening, this episode in particular is very, very special. This time around, we are inviting not two, but we are inviting three very special guests who have participated in our donation drive. They are our storytellers. They have told some stories and they have joined our initiative quite at the early stage. And do you know what makes this episode extremely special? Well, it's actually a special episode featuring three very beautiful crown holders. So there are actually beauty pageants in different titles. So they're empowering women. They have done and did a lot of humanitarian work. They are also actively involved in supporting many other causes. It could be causes that supports children in particular. Some, especially our first guest, is very active in terms of supporting refugees, and then many more. Okay, even I myself, I do enjoy doing voluntary work because I felt like, especially in this period of time, in light of the pandemic, a lot of people, especially the underprivileged, are taking a big blow because they cannot even meet their ends meet and they don't even have essential items, food to sustain themselves. So this is a time that I think we can spread love, extend that message across so that people are aware of the situation that they are in. Okay, so without further ado, I'm very excited to speak to our first guest. Now, she is a former beauty pageant title holder who was crowned Miss Universe Malaysia 2011 and Miss Malaysia World in 2007. Now, she has been actively involved in a lot of humanitarian work. Now, this lady, she co-founded Fuji School. It's a non-profit charity organization that provides basic education to Somalian refugee children, and she is also a World Vision's child's right advocate, an ambassador before for Yes I Can campaign for the prevention of an unplanned, unwanted pregnancy in Malaysia, just to name a few of her past involvement. And without further ado, she's in right now. Please welcome Miss Deborah Priya Henry.
Hi.
Hi, Deborah.
It's my camera.
You want to say hello to our viewers first?
Hi. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Even this could be just a quick 20 minutes chat. Now, let's start off with some banters probably. Like, how have you been keeping yourself occupied in this MCO, CNCO period?
So I've been actually very, very occupied, very busy. Not with my usual types of work, because obviously I work in the fashion and entertainment industry, and as we all know, it's pretty much dead right now.
Right.
So I've had to it was really hard in the beginning, the first few weeks, because I was obviously, like many people, struggling with like, I've got no work, and how long is this going to last for? There was so much uncertainty, right? But I basically, as you said earlier, I run a nonprofit, and we work with the refugee community predominantly. But we ended up initiating a fundraiser. So we've started collecting a lot of funds from the public, and we've been providing food relief as well as medical and rent assistance to not only refugee families, but also Malaysian families in need, as well as the migrant workers in Malaysia.
I see. It's fantastic. I mean, personally, I wanted to ask, you have spent over 12 years working with refugee communities in Malaysia, particularly. And it's a portion where it's kind of like sparked interest among many, because, some people will be helping, maybe the underprivileged, but not so much on refugees, because refugees, I think by definition, we know that they are not originated from Malaysia themselves, right? So you have the opportunity to sort of gain the insider's situation with them in person. So through your involvement and through your observation, what is the situation with them right now, especially now in light with the pandemic that's going on?
Yeah, so I think a very important thing to understand, and I think there's so much misinformation out there in the news, is that a refugee is very different to an economic migrant. I know the term we tend to use is illegal, and then we say everyone's illegal, and we get confused and we don't know who's who. But I think it's so important, firstly, to know a refugee is someone who's had to flee their country because of persecution, war, conflict, a real threat to their life. And that's why they come here, not out of choice, but out of necessity, right? And that's something that you and I and everyone would probably do. All of my friends, if I said, would you run away if the bombs were dropping on your house? They say, yes, I would. So I think we'd all become refugees if the situation called for it. That's very different to a person who comes to Malaysia as an economic migrant to, say, work in construction or in restaurants. So two very different things. And so the refugee population during this pandemic has been very affected, because although refugees are not, they're not considered legal in Malaysia in terms of like legal document. So therefore, they're not allowed to work legally, and they can't send their kids to school. So they exist in Malaysia. They don't live in camps. They live amongst us. However, they are very much isolated and cut off from access to basic services. So. But the reality is, of course, we all need to take care of ourselves. So most refugees do work in various different businesses, and they earn an income. And so during this period, most of them have lost their jobs. So they've lost their income. Normally a very minimal income. So they're not able to pay for rent in their apartments. They're not able to pay for food, for medicine, very basic things. Like a lot of Malaysian families, I think this pandemic has not discriminated. Everyone is suffering in different ways, different levels. And so, the only thing now is that even though we're now in the CMCO period, refugees are still affected. Many haven't returned to jobs. We don't have any means of paying rent. And we've been giving out a lot of food. So every 2 weeks, we end up giving families another food bag.
Right.
So that's kind of like in a nutshell what communities are going through. And it is very desperate. And I don't know when these individuals are going to be able to start work again. So their dependency then on nonprofits like Fuji and other organizations is going to be very high.
So that's how you guys come in place, especially in that period of time. I mean, it's really nice, and it's really good that, this is being communicated out there today, because I think to a lot of the people, refugees, to them, it's like, it can be very scary. It's like they don't know who they are, where they come from, and they don't know why they are here, right? But I agree that, everyone is definitely taking a blow right now. So it's great to have people like you, championing that refugee causes.
I really believe that, they're like, I'm Malaysian. My mother's Irish. My dad's Malaysian. I've lived here. I've lived overseas. I've because of this work, I've traveled. I've gone to Somalia. I've gone to Lebanon. I've gone to some of the worst parts of the world where people suffer the most. I've seen it with my own eyes. I don't sit here in a position of privilege just talking. And a lot of people think that, oh, beauty queen, you world peace, and then you sit here and talk about stuff. It's not. I've been doing this for over 12 years, like you said. And refugees, they're not here to steal from us, to take from us, to be a burden on Malaysian society. They, like you and me, they want to be productive. They want to have a job. They want to earn. They want to not rely on charity. They want to take care of themselves. And I truly believe. I truly believe, and it's not just a personal opinion, but it's backed up by evidence and by data that there is enough. We need people to do certain jobs. There is enough in this economy to take care of everyone. And if people can contribute and their skills, their talent, and we can work together, I really think we can all benefit. I think a lot of times Malaysians, like you said, we fear what we don't know, and we see them as a threat. We think they're going to take our jobs and that they're going to take money. And the reality is no one is paid for them to survive here. It's been all through donations, and it's been all nonprofits like ours. And very much, we don't give handouts. They really need to take care of themselves. Yeah. So yeah, I cannot agree more. I mean, at the end of the day, they're just normal human beings. They wanted an honest job. They want a steady income so they can put food on table, right? And let's talk about the deprived on in terms of education. That we know that many of them, it's not only for the refugees, even in the underprivileged communities, right? Many of these children are actually deprived from education. So, and I think child literacy is often taken for granted. Now that we're talking about education, right? What are your thoughts about empowering children through access to education? Absolutely. I truly believe in education. Nelson Mandela said, education is the greatest weapon which we can use to change the world. When you want to change how people think, it starts through an education. It starts when they're young. It starts in school. And education, it's not just an academic education of 1 + 1 = 2, but education changes your heart. It changes your mind. It changes how you feel and think. That is why investing in education is so important. You need the right type of an education. And so we know these children have grown up in such hard, traumatic, and disadvantaged circumstances. So really, their ability to go to a school, to get access to knowledge, to learn, and not just that, to feel confident, like you know what, I can do it. I have what it takes to build a good life. I know I can be successful. That kind of confidence and that resilience is so important, because that gives them hope. It gives them hope, and it gives them the tools they need to go on and to look to the future and say, I want to be this. I want to be a doctor, a teacher, a policeman, a lawyer, and I'm going to achieve my dreams. And I think that changes not just their life, but it changes their family's life. So it will change, and it will take them out of their situation. And I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it we've had over 500 children in our school. I've seen it so many times with our kids. And education is really transformational. And to me, it's like, if people want to invest in anything, of course, now we're in an emergency situation, so it's food and water. But if you want to put your money to invest in anything, it is in a quality education, especially. And I'm not talking refugees. I'm, like you say, anyone, whether it's the stateless in Sabah, it's the B40 in Malaysia, it's the abandoned children, it's whoever it is. It's really, that is the biggest gift you can give someone. Exactly. I mean, without access to education, it kind of traps the illiterate communities in poverty. It's like a whole vicious cycle. Then they end up with a vicious cycle. Right. And so it's so important. And so that's a passion that keeps us going after 10 years when things get tough. Right. Is that element, that I wanted to ask, is that element that caught your attention that makes you participate in our campaign, Safe with Stories Why? What was your initial thought when we invite you to join our campaign? Well, of course, I know Gibson very well, and he's a good friend, and I go there to get my hair done. Of course, now my hair's in a bun because, it's like, whatever. Anyway, let's not talk about it. I need a hair. But yeah, and I know he and the the whole Sean Cutler family, like they're very good when it comes to this, and they really have they really have a very genuine concern about these about children, about especially kids in need. So that's one. And the second thing is I really love storytelling. My mom used to read books to us as kids.
Wow.
So many kids books at home. It's my mom's a teacher, so I really understand the value of education, and storytelling is such a beautiful thing. We always tell. We actually made a book for Fuji School's 10th anniversary, and it's called You're In, Not Out. And the whole book is literally stories and pictures and drawings from our students. So that's storytelling. I wanted them to be able to share their stories, and for them to know when you share your story, it does something magical to you. It gives you a sense of importance, value. That someone else, it's in a book, and someone else is reading that book. And even for us as adults, I think it's so important for us to have a voice and for us to be able to communicate things that matter to us. And even when you think about it, in the olden days, way back many years ago, when people didn't we didn't have internet and computers and books, that's how people passed on information. They told stories.
Yep.
So it's very...
And I think that verbal part and the expressive is actually very interesting, keeping that the stories alive like that.
It brings it alive. And I think it's a beautiful thing that we shouldn't lose, especially like I think a lot of kids nowadays, I don't know if people read storybooks as much. I'm not a mom, I'm not a parent, so I don't know, but everything's on the iPad, right? And I think there's something very beautiful when you turn the page of a book and you feel the pages, you see the colors. It's something,
totally agree. Like even today, I mean, I'm traditional like that. They talk about going into ebooks, right? But I still love the idea of holding that physical book on my hand. But then it has that dilemma because they talk about sustainability and all, and that you should cut books and go on ebooks. But I still find that somewhat a bit lacking in terms of the experience.
Absolutely.
Right. But you choose a story. It's called How the Camel Got Its Hum. Like, is there a particular reason why you come across choosing this book? Or
I thought it was kind of cute. Actually, I don't have it with me now. I forgot to get it. I thought it was a kind of a cute story, and it kind of also was talked about being different.
Okay.
It kind of talks about being different and embracing your difference and not trying to be like someone else. And we all have our own what makes us special and unique. So to own yourself, to a lot of kids grow up nowadays feeling my skin's not a certain color, my hair's not certain yellow. Why don't I have yellow hair, mommy? So I think stories like this really, I think they're relevant.
Moral values, underlying moral values with it.
More value to it.
I have not read that book.
Princesses, can it?
I've not read that book before until you tell the story. I was like, oh, okay, so that's how the tales come about. Like, I have no idea prior to that. But okay, about this campaign also, we are actually putting some emphasis on helping special kids. So these are the kids that they probably have wide variety of conditions, such as physical ailments, they have learning disabilities, terminal illness, or people with autism, Down syndrome. Now, I'm just curious, have you been previously involved in any cause targeted to this particular group?
I have. I mean, obviously, in the many years I've attended events, I've lent my support, my voice to a lot of organizations and homes that work with children with learning disabilities. Yeah, so definitely. I mean, it's not something I'm heavily involved in, but we have children at our school that have various different disabilities. So we try to support them to the best we can, So, and then it's really not about just the child, but it's about supporting the parents. It's very much a community thing. You need to give the parents the support and the kids the support. And it is also a form of an education, right? On how to handle, how to deal.
Actually, through this campaign also, it's like what you mentioned. We hope that people will pay attention to this group of families, especially for those who have special kids, because I think they sort of do require alternative approaches, especially when it comes to education, because the way they learn things are pretty much different. Right. So, because we have time constraint, and I know that you're a busy woman as well. Now, before we end the session with you, do you have a final message to tell to our viewers who are watching this in regards to the campaign?
Well, yeah, I think we all have power within us that we can contribute. I think a lot of times people think, oh, I'm just one person. What can I do to change? What can I do to make things different or better? And I think more now than ever before, we realize that we all have such an important role to play. It takes all of us coming together, and that's where our power lies as individuals, but also as a group. We're stronger together, and so I think it's. Even for this campaign, it's sharing stories. It's sharing stories of people who are more disadvantaged than us, whose stories, if you have a voice, you can share their story. And to be able to contribute if you can to support, because there's always someone who's going to be more privileged than you and someone who's in need, right? And if you have the opportunity to be able to do something good for someone today, and you never know, there'll be a day when you need help and someone's going to give you a hand as well. So we're all very interconnected.
Brilliant. I love that. I mean, that's sort of the shout out we need to. So guys, if you're listening to this, join Deborah and help support the campaign. You can, if you're not comfortable with lending your voices, you can always click on the donation link that we posted on our Facebook and Instagram, Safe with Story Smile, and we will also be posting it on the comment section later on. So donation as little as 15 ringgit, you can make a difference. So Deborah, once again, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for coming on board. Even though it's a quick 20 minutes chat, but we have gained so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care and stay safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, guys, so that's from Deborah Henry. Once again, thank you so much, Deborah, for joining us in today's live. And you can see what a wonderful person she is. She has that overflowing of energy that she exudes during the live session that we have. So much love and so much contribution that she has made in our communities. So, all right, moving on, of course, to get this session moving, we have to invite upon our second special guest of the night. It's another big shot that we have. Now, you would have seen her gracing the covers of magazines, Female Magazine, August, FHM, Style Magazine, just to name a few. She's a Malaysian director, she's a model, she is a beauty pageant title holder who crowned for Miss Malaysia 2013. So without further ado, please welcome Carey.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
Carey. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Having me.
You look very comfy, and I like it. I like the setting. It's like yellow, and it feels like romantic. So thank you for your time joining us today for a friendly chat. So how have you been doing this MCO? Have you been picking up new hobby or such?
Well, I have much luxuries to pick up new hobbies with my 2 kids giving me
Oh, so has it been difficult? I heard a lot of stories about mom being restless. This MCO, CNCO period, the kids are craving for your attention. So how has that been for you?
100% more clingy to me, sure, now, because they've spent so much time with me, and not having school definitely is tough, because then, everything's on me, just day to night. But privilege, I feel, to be able to spend so much time with them and just being. So I feel like the bond has grown stronger, and I'm really counting my blessings. So I can't complain, I guess.
You have got 2 girls, am I right?
Yes, I've got 2 girls.
I think then your husband is living in a house full of girls.
And he never fails to remind me how difficult that can be, to have 3 girls house.
Oh, okay. But I think it's amazing. Like you mentioned, I do agree in that sense that, when else can we find time like this to really spend time like full out with families, right? Yeah. So this could be like one of the best like blessing in disguise, All right. So let's talk a little bit about the campaign, Safe with Stories. Now, in conjunction with this campaign, you actually chose a story. It's called Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls for campaign. And I at first I thought it was just like a single title story, and I was quite surprised to find out there are like about 100 bedtime stories in it. Right. So, and you read 3 for us, and it's a big bonus to our listeners because I was expecting only 1 from you, and you had 3. So thank you. Now, do you have that habit of reading children's book to your little ones?
Yeah, for sure. I think like my mom has always been a huge bookworm.
Mm-hmm.
Me to love books, and I think like I read a lot of books in my school days, not so much anymore. But I that has influenced me and has been my inspiration and to kind of like fuel my dreams. So I
Mm-hmm.
try possible best entertainment for kids anyways.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 girls really love books, and it's kind of a habit or a ritual to kind of go to bed with a book, and when you wake up you get another book, so that's at least 2 books a day or 2 stories a day. So
But is there a particular reason why you choose like the stories? Is it
yeah,
something that you enjoy or like your girl's favorite,
yeah, I think like my girls might be still too young to say, hey,
to understand?
it's better. My younger girl's like into Peppa Pig right now, and I'm like refusing to kind of put all the Peppa Pig ones.
Right.
But I felt personally inspired by the stories in the book as
Mm-hmm.
well. That if I'm reading it to them, if I get that maybe 1 minute attention from them, just to kind of be inspired by the stories or just
Mm-hmm.
kind of understand what I'm trying to tell them, I
Yep.
think that would be amazing, whether they understand all of the stories or not.
Right. It's like they might not be understand every words of it, but they probably get a gist of what the story really is coming from their mom, right? But actually, it's because of you. I googled the book actually, and I was actually very surprised that this is a very successful book through crowdfunding. I didn't know that. That explained how little I read. And the best part of the book that you read, I want to tell this to our listeners who's watching this as well. This book, it tells a lot of stories about women, and these women are real figures, like tennis players, painters, we have like Malala Yousafzai, and then like stories like Hillary Clinton. So I felt like it's like a book that capture a moment in the history, and yet at the same time is able to give like young children strong and empowering messages. And it's not that typical prince and princess stories that we grew up with. So I really like that, and I really want to encourage like the viewers who, if you really need to get a story for your children, you should really go for the one Carey chose. It's amazing, and you get 100 in one. So I think that's a good bargain also, right?
That's
Right. Okay. So let's talk about some parenting, because I think many young parents, they are actually having this issue these days. Yeah, they can't seem to get their children to focus on something. So often we see parents, they will use their mobile devices, iPad, they will play cartoons for their children. So getting them to read may seem to be quite impossible. So like, what's your parenting tips like, to inculcate that reading habit to your kids? Do you have some tips to share to us?
Yeah, I think like you have to first and foremost um try and cultivate this habit from a very, very young age. So as soon as they're born, I'd say
Oh,
start
as soon as you're born. All right.
my babies since infancy, like I always
Mm,
the 15
okay.
second story, but it's just me talking to them. So then they
Mm,
realize a lot of comfort, more the association that the mother is talking
okay.
to something. It just doesn't have to be something that they understand.
Mm,
And through that, my kids have kind of loved the whole activity. It's like a bonding for us. And then we open a book. We not only enjoy the visuals. Most young kids only
right. I agree.
Books out there that have great. So for parents who have trouble, kind of getting the kids interested, I think if you interesting one with pop-ups and stuff like that, I think that might help, or a title that they can relate to. But I think like because I've started so early, they really look forward to just me reading the story out loud. They mommy, tell a story please, mommy, tell a story please. So I really feel like that has become kind of habitual for us,
right?
And, yeah.
But also you must be a good storyteller too, for your kids to wanting to listen stories from you.
Educate myself as much as possible so that they can be so fascinated and kind of stay interested in the story. But
right.
a lot of great books out there kind of do the part for parents. There's so many there.
But does it just comes like very naturally, like, oh, it's story time, or you do have that particular moment, like, okay, like you impose like a certain curfew or whatnot, like like you have to read this from between this timing to this timing. Do you have that so-called system?
Well, bedtime story. So just before bed, get a story before bedtime. But most of the time, it might end up with more than one story, just because my daughter
fell asleep by just one story.
It feels like a reward for them when they ask for, like, hey, mommy, can I have another one? So that's but I kind of leave books around everywhere. It's looking for toys to play when I leave them out in the living room. They're all read. So even on their own, they're kind of flipping pages and whatnot, and then they might bring the book to me. So that's kind of like, I'm not really forcing you to read because reading is fun. So maybe you can kind of like pick up a book and come to me and ask me for a story time. So yeah, I think that
right. Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool tips, I think, for whichever parents to live by. And I think, like you mentioned earlier, you should find like maybe different avenues. If those like very lengthy just sentences could be bored for your children, like you mentioned earlier, you can get something that has that visual pop-up things to garner their interest first lah. Because I think at the end of the day, it's really important to also inculcate like reading, because it's associated with education at the end of the day. And it's good to get them to really start reading. And I think one good thing that I heard from many is like, when your kids love to read, somehow that they are able to focus better. I'm not sure. Do you feel that too?
For sure. I think like a lot of parents sometimes debate, sometimes if I do show kids education YouTube videos, wouldn't that kind of do the same thing? But I think that there's something about being physically present, and being able to just say, hey, I'm going to read this story. That's practice, focus, discipline.
Right.
It kind of allow the child to kind of build this sense of like, hey, I'm going to block out this distraction. This is what I want to voice. And it's you're being physically present. Like how people when they're on their phone. Yeah.
Right. So that's I totally agree, because I think I've seen like somehow kids who love to pick up books, they're more calming in nature, and they're not like super hyperactive. And I think that's gonna help the mom as well a lot.
In the long run, I know the temptation in there. I wanna leave my children to YouTube videos and like just give me a break. So I'm done too.
All right. So now often, okay, let's talk about you then, like you and maybe your spouse. Now, often we know like incredible working mom, or AKA like women, like you are having triple persona, right? You're a working woman, at the same time, you're a wife of someone, and you are a mother, right? So that led you being a multitasker at home. So what do you think then? Because I think you yourself have so much to take on. What do you think about the role of your spouse in terms of parenting?
oh wow, they must be 100% present as well, if not more.
Rowan
For-
is listening to this.
well, I bring very different qualities of parenting to the table, and I think like a daughter myself, I feel like father and a father figure is very, very important. It's something that even if I were to put 200% time for the kids, it will not give the same effect. So I think a certain role to carry on, and a certain figure to uphold, so that my kids will learn that you know what are the male figures supposed to be like in their life, you know. It's not just not saying that he has to clock in like 5 hours a day and whatnot, you know, but just being present in terms of moments, and just like advice, and being there as a nurturing person or nurturing figure is as a father to daughters especially.
But you have two girls, and we all know, like, you know, dads love their baby girls, right? Is there that moment when you like say no, and then your husband is like, no lah, they're you know, they're girls, like, you know the fatherly figure thing that's happening? Like, is there a moment, or there are often times like you all have that disagreement when it comes to parenting?
Like he's like, just let them watch. Oh, mommy, can I give them this? Can I give them that? You know, why don't we just give them a lolly? You know, but it comes from a good place, and when you're, I guess, you don't spend as much time with the kids, tend to want to give love in different ways to the kids. So I understand why he does it. But Rowan's very respectful in that manner. He does consult him. Oh, you know, I don't think we should be doing that and all that. It's for the good of the. I think we both kind of know, hey, you know, I think we have best interests of our children at heart. So there'll be a problem. But definitely, I'm not a really strict parent as well. I just feel like we should not, you know, stress ourselves too much being a parent. I'm being a good parent if I'm too stressed up. You know what I mean?
But you and him, do you think which of you think is the strict one?
Yeah,
that's not me, right?
And maybe 90% of the time with the kids, so I have to be the strict one. Otherwise,
fair. Totally fair. All right, fantastic, because I can see that how great partnership between you and your husband in particular, and I think that's really the key on balancing that part lah. And it's very nice to have a husband or a spouse that champion the same values like you. I think that's really going to help in terms of parenting, because you want to negotiate the part where, like you said, you put your children's as the main interest. So that's how you work together. So I think it's really nice. Now, because we have only a pretty short session with you, and it's about to come to an end really soon. Now, do you have some final message out there which you want to relate to Safe with Stories campaign, and you want to tell and share it to our viewers?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like having children myself, I understand how they're vulnerable. They're most vulnerable, I guess. Part of community, and in this difficult time, I feel like all the more we will have to be aware. We have to be aware that these vulnerable, you know, part of the community needs help. They need it for them, and it's really important to just kind of know that when you're doing something for a child, it's a ripple effect. You know, they'll do better in community. They'll grow up to be better people. They'll chance to be educated. So I think, like, you don't understand how small a little favor could mean so much to these children. So I think like sharing inspiration, not just sharing our voices, but just really able to lend our support in every way possible to children who need it in this time of need. Need to, you know, check out and support however you can, however small it is. I think it would make a difference to someone out there.
All right, that's really sums up all. You know, that's awesome. True enough, I think especially in this period of time, many people are really they are in need of help, and it's really nice to have people like you. And earlier we had Deborah coming on board to actually support the cause and making sure that more people are aware of what is actually happening among these underprivileged communities. And so, Carey, thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us today. You look as pretty as always. So I wish you the very best in your endeavors. So stay safe.
All right. Have a good
Take
night.
care. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
AFO Radio.
All right, guys. So two guests, Deborah, Henry, and Carey. Thank you so much again for taking your time joining us today. And earlier, the video you watched is basically that we have a facelift on our website. So don't forget to check out aforadio.com. So for those of you who are back at work at this period of time, don't forget to practice your precautionary measures by practicing social distancing, wear your mask. Okay, so moving on, we have our final speaker. Now, with this final speaker, she is also someone very dear to me because she's actually our colleague. She's one of our AFO radio announcers, but at the same time, she is also a beauty pageant. Now, a mermaid coach who described herself as a curious adventurer. She enjoys shooting a lot of commercials, acting, hosting projects. She also holds the crown for Miss Malaysia Earth Ecotourism 2014, Miss World Malaysia Photogenic 2016, and this year she's also one of the finalists for Miss Universe 2020. So without further ado, please welcome my dear Adelina.
Hi, Selene.
Hi, darling.
You look so gorgeous.
I purposely wear my hairband because I want to match with you, because I noticed that all your live show have hairband, mostly.
Well, today why I wear this because is of course with this campaign with children, so something cute for the children.
You want to appeal to the kids then. All right. So
Yeah.
first of all, even though I need to say thank you to you too, even though we are already very close. Thank you so much for joining
No
us.
problem.
But I think this is the first time we are on the show together, right? Right? Are we?
Correct.
We have
For
never-
sure, yes. For the first time.
We have never do an interview together, right?
No, we
Amazing with this chance that we have.
Yeah.
And you have a show earlier this evening. Am I right?
yes, actually with also our fellow colleague Ryan.
With our AFO announcer too. I think
yes, correct.
It's a great time that we all announcers get to bond also, because last time we don't have much time to bond together.
correct.
And then all of a sudden this month we are like, okay lah, let's talk more, and then let's group together, have
Indeed.
gathering online. So I think it's
Mhm.
pretty good. But let's talk about this year. I think this year has been quite difficult. Especially yourself, right? In this predicament we are facing, and in light of the COVID-19 situation, we know
Correct.
that because you are one of the finalists for Miss Universe 2020, so the
Correct.
crowning has been postponed also, right?
Correct. We postpone until for now. The latest news is around this year December or next year January.
Wow.
So still unsure yet.
Yeah, I
Stay-
think
Stay tuned.
so. But then, like, tell us a little bit lah. Like, how
Mhm.
was the preparation going on? Because, like, how much have you guys prepared actually until all this thing happened and brought everything to standstill?
Or before MCO, we actually have, I believe all of us, 18 of us, is quite prepared very well. And for sure, we have the fire in it. Like, whoa. Then who knows? Like, okay, the first MCO, okay, never mind, maybe like 1 month.
Yeah.
Then after that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. So I believe the fire is still a little bit like, but still picking it up, because time to time our organizer person in charge will like actually like
Yeah.
spot check on us. Like, do you
To make
do
sure.
this? Do you work out? Do you like stay
Oh,
active on your social media? Therefore, you have
do
many pageant fans to follow you. Yeah.
do they try to check out on your weights also continuously? Like, do you have a
They
standard? No.
no, better don't remind about that to check this.
We eat a lot during MCO. I don't know if they keep track of your weights or not because of this universe.
Well, I mean, we still need to time work out. Well, and sometimes we still need to do some postings for our sponsors, and mostly it's also relatable to us, good for us because it's exercise. So we need to do
Right.
lots of exercise. Yes.
Okay. So I mean, I hope that situation will turn better, and I hope the crowning
Yeah.
will continue. Because I think this could be also the first time in history that they are facing this, right? Like we all are facing this. Because
I think all of us, I guess.
yeah, because
All around the world.
this universe is like something that they do like annually. I think this is the only first year that they encounter a situation like this. So I think
Correct.
kind of like hopefully things will. Let's think at the bright side. You have more months to prepare now.
Correct. In a way, yes. True enough.
All right. Now, one thing I really like about pageantry, right, is that it really brings out the best in community awareness. Because almost all the whatever pageantry that I'm aware of, there's always the element of supporting a cause in the community and a lot of charity works.
Correct.
Right. So I mean, for our viewers who's watching this, I mean, even though yes, this Safe with Stories My campaign is initiated by AFO, but we did not force any of our colleagues to participate. It's all by free will. So our dear Adelina actually supported the cause. Now, Adelina, then tell us, what was your first response when you learned that AFO Radio has such an initiative?
Well, actually, it's pretty good for sure, because I believe the founders are you, Selene, and Kim as well. So we believe that we always know that our dear Kim like has a big charitable heart, no matter when and how.
Very
Any
active.
second, any minute you need help, you can call her. She maybe like 1 or 2, 3 words actually can calm you down. You're like goddess. So I believe, and Celine as well, because you were like telling me that Hollywood shared the similar stories actually to help
Right.
the underprivileged children. So it's a very, very good awareness, because no matter for me, what kind of charity, what kind of donation, as long as it's helping people, animals, it's a good deed for them as well. So I'm happy that AFO, our company, our boss, that very indeed like true, I would say true, very true to support this campaign. Yep.
Yeah, you have to mention animal there, because for those who know Adelina, she is a pet lover. So anything that helps people and animal comes to you. And for those who are watching this, by the way, Adelina also runs a show, and your show name is called Pet what?
Pets Mania.
Pets Mania. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Let me help you promote your show too. Woo.
Thank you.
So Adelina, I think knowing you since the day I know you, right, as a colleague, I'm also aware that you do help out in terms of providing aids to some of the neediest community. I think I saw you collecting some, those essential items, and you will go to some houses and distribute them. Is that right? Because I remember seeing that.
I believe that one was maybe back to those days I was with a previous pageant.
Oh,
I believe so.
Now become new pageant, don't help already.
New pageant also. New pageant, actually I'm doing my advocacy, but by helping the Blue Project.
Okay, tell us a little bit.
Actually it's similar charity, but the thing is different, because that one it's corals.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So to be specific, I am like to
It's an ocean
sustain the
project.
sustainable corals, because actually corals is quite important, very important to not just the sea animals, for us
Right.
as well. Yep.
It's
So
a
when you
sustain, sustain the
correct,
whole
so
ecosystem.
correct. So in short, to say, corals, if it's healthy and etc., good shape, you can like not to having like avoid like natural disaster like earthquake, good weather,
Oh wow.
and and of course with the food chain will not disappear as well, definitely, for sure.
I see. So do you have to like go to the ocean or something? Like, do you have to plant corals?
Yes, we do plant
You have
corals
to.
at yes. Because when you're a diver, you can come along as well when we open up. Supposedly, we should go this month. Unfortunately,
Again.
MCO.
Oh
So
no.
yeah.
The corals have to wait like half a year.
So basically, we bring back those dead corals. Actually, dead corals are not fully dead. They just need to like, from there, we
They
plant
can.
to the correct place. Yep,
Oh,
they will
okay.
regrow again.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought like,
Yeah.
you know, at times like, it breaks my heart also when I go for diving and then I notice like the corals are dead. Then I'm like,
Yep.
poor corals. Oh, but they can be revived. I didn't know that.
Can because like why a coral it's considered dead, because they don't have a safe zone already. That's why they like fly away, fly to safer place. That's why that particular thing becomes dead.
I
Yep.
see. Okay, that's cool. Now let's talk a little bit about your story. Okay, you choose a story that is like it's interesting because I think everyone know of that story, right? So but what makes you
Yeah.
choose? Like, by the way, Adelina read a story to us and it's called Toy Story 3. Betul?
Correct. Toy Story 3. Because I come across that I have plenty of oops. Sorry,
happened?
my phone. Terjatuh. So because I have good what good advertisement. So actually I have plenty of children's stories. So I was choosing that because I have Toy Story soft toys as well. Okay, say hi to my boyfriend.
I can't see him. That's Jonathan. Hi, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Why are you so shy?
So back to that, because I have Toy Story soft toy. So saying like, I can like do together. If people that watch my video, I also feel a bit embarrassed because this is like really my first time reading a story. You see, doing a show like that's fine lah. It's like reading a story, then I like playing a doll together. Then it's like, it's so funny, but it's so cute. I think it's cute for the kids. So for me, it's like Toy Story. Yeah. Too bad I can't upload.
Is it really your book, or you got it from someone, or you bought it from a store or something?
I'm actually not too sure whose book is this, but it's very long already. See there? It's like very long.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, Toy Story, come again. But unfortunately, I can't upload to Instagram. So I asked those people, if you're interested, back to my Facebook page, you can able to see the full version of the story.
Oh, you couldn't upload it on Instagram?
Yeah.
I think
Because
we
Instagram,
can upload it on our account then. Then we will ask them to upload a direct account to the direct Instagram account.
Yeah. Because Instagram send me a notice that I've been like licensing problem. Maybe because I was reading that Toy Story book. I think so.
To give them credit then.
Yeah.
Okay. Because of the time limitation, now Adelina, do you have like a final message to our viewers out there in regards with the Save with Stories My campaign?
So people who are watching, if you haven't support, please do support. But for people who you have a little bit more money, you still can help us, and not just us, with the children. The children needs you.
Right.
But of course, for certain people, you might not able to help in terms of your financial problem. Actually, you can just do really simple thing, just like us, by choosing your own favorite storybooks to read and post to to your social media actually to promote out this campaign as well. So it's quite meaningful. Yep.
I totally agree. I mean, to those of you who are watching out there, you know, there are many avenues of how you can help the special kids and those who are in the those of the underprivileged communities. Now, if you have voices to lend, now let us know. You can PM us after the show. We will guide you through how to read stories, and so that we can share it on the platform for people to enjoy. And of course, if you are able to contribute more, like what Adelina mentioned, do help us to make contribution as little as how much?
15.
Yes, as little as little as 15 ringgit. Now you're able to make a difference. So you can check out the link that we will be posting on the link in the comment section later on. And at the same time, if you want to know more about the campaign, you can always visit our Facebook page and Instagram page. And all you have to do is to key in Safe with Stories MY, Safe with Stories MY, and all the details will be there. If more information, you can always let us know. If you need more information, we will be there to assist as well. Now, today has been a very enjoyable day with 3 gorgeous ladies. I have to purposely put makeup today because the 3 are like beauty pageants.
No, you're perfect. Actually, Selene itself is very like gorgeous indeed. So I don't think you need a lot of makeup. So it's good.
All right. And once again, anyway, thank you, Adelina. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Selene.
For supporting us, supporting me in the show as well. Right.
Yeah.
So
Thank
to
you.
all viewers out there, so stay safe, take care, and we'll see you soon again. Bye-bye.
Bye.